Tanse, welcome to APTN National News. I'm TR Wheatley. Thanks for joining us. RCMP believe they found the remains of Manitoba First Nation Police Services Chief following an early Wednesday morning fire. Shortly before 5 a.m., crews were called to a house fire near Portage-la Prairie, Manitoba. The home belongs to Doug Paulson, chief of MFNPS. When investigators examined the fire's aftermath, they discovered human remains. RCMP believe those remains belong to Paulson. Paulson was named chief in 2021 after working with police services in Dryden, Ontario and Brandon, Manitoba. The chair of the Dakota Ojibwe Tribal Council Police Commission says her thoughts and prayers are with his family. The Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs and the Assembly of First Nations are also offering their condolences. MFNPS, RCMP, and the Office of the Fire Commissioner continue to investigate. This week in Saskatoon, the Crown appealed a recent decision where a judge stayed charges involving an alleged impaired driver. On September 9, 2021, 9-year-old Bailey Maurice was walking her scooter across the street when she was hit by a truck driven by Taylor Kennedy. Kennedy admitted to vaping marijuana and microdosing magic mushrooms the day before. On December 13, 2024, Kennedy's impaired driving causing death charge was stayed in a Saskatoon court. Judge Jane Wooten ruled Kennedy's charter rights were violated because she was not tried within a reasonable time. On January 6, 2025, the Crown filed an appeal. The Saskatchewan Court of Appeal has yet to decide if they will hear the case. APTN will provide updates as they become available. A sad update now on a story we first brought you last week. The RCMP in Saskatchewan have issued a news release saying that 50-year-old Orlando Ugamason has been found and he is dead. Ugamason was a member of the Beardies and Ugamason First Nation northeast of Saskatoon. He went missing from the Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation near Prince Albert on Christmas Day. The RCMP release does not say how he died or where or when he was found, but it does say Orlando's death does not appear to be suspicious. The Saskatchewan Coroner's Service is investigating. The Sturgeon Lake and Beardies Okamasis communities have been rallying around Orlando's family, who had spearheaded search efforts. A Northern Ontario-based Indigenous Family Services agency has entered into an agreement with a local hospital. It's to ensure culturally appropriate services to Indigenous families. As APTN's Mike McDonald reports, the deal solidifies the commitment to the safety and well-being of Indigenous children, youth, and families.
Officials at Nogda-Windeman Family and Community Services say a new protocol agreement with Sioux Area Hospital is rooted in Anishinaabe teachings and traditions and establishes a clear framework for cooperation and communication between the organizations.
At times when our families would attend the hospital, we had found that perhaps there might not have been that cultural sensitivity. So we helped with building that knowledge and helping them understand that it is really important to provide that different service to our families.
While not getting into specifics, Kennedy says some incidents at the hospital prompted Nogda-Windeman to initiate a dialogue with Sioux Area Hospital.
There had been times when we had brought our children to the hospital and we had found that the reception wasn't the best at the time, and it was hard to navigate some of those services. Even as workers, we found that difficult. So, helping, so that's when we knew we had to look at an agreement of some sort to help us understand, help the hospital understand, to provide those better services for our families.
And Kennedy says the hospital has been open to the agreement from the start and has been engaging in special training for staff.
Definitely, the hospital was very receptive. We've had many meetings, like I'd mentioned. We've had meetings in the lodge with them. We've passed tobacco. We've helped them understand, the importance of utilizing culture and recognizing the uniqueness of our communities.
Meantime, officials at Sioux Area Hospital say the partnership with Nogda-Windeman reflects a deep commitment to supporting families and creating compassionate and culturally centered care. Mike McDonald, APTN National News, Sault Ste. Marie.
Land defenders opposing the removal of trees in the Lemay forest are staying put after the property owner and developer attempted to access the land Wednesday morning. An injunction ordering the defenders not to impede access was extended Monday, but they remained on site, saying they wouldn't leave without police presence. Reporter Sierra Bettens has more.
Land defenders and members of the coalition to save Lemay Forest have been stationed here since late December. They're fighting to stop the landowner, the Churchill Development Group of Toronto, from removing trees on what they say is sacred land.
We are planning on stopping them to give us enough time to have a proper negotiation with police present.
On December 31st, court granted an interim injunction ordering them to not impede access to the property owner's land. On Monday, the injunction was extended, but not expanded. On Wednesday morning, the developer's planner arrived with a large truck, intending to access the land. He returned on 2 separate occasions with a bobcat. But the coalition told him they wouldn't move until police arrived.
I'm hearing them, but they're not moving out of the way of the equipment.
Later, Transcona City Councillor Russ Wyatt announced that Councillor Marcus Chambers is filing a motion urging the city to expropriate the lands for a public park.
My hope is that the owner of the property hears this, ceases and desists from his decision to cut the trees down, which is somewhat spiteful in the fact that he has not received an approval for development, in light of the fact that the city is now contemplating expropriation.
Louise May speaks for the coalition. She says they plan to file an injunction based on the Cemeteries Act. Past research commissioned by the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs found approximately 1,500 burials in the Asile Rochelle Cemetery, which is in the Lemay Forest. However, the exact location of the cemetery is unknown.
There are at least 1,500 dead children, infants buried here. That needs to come to light, and there are likely thousands more. So there are 30 years where we don't have records of the deaths here. So that is, a major piece of St. Norbert history, Manitoba history, even Canadian history.
However, Winthrop says the developer will continue to cut down trees in the Lemay Forest.
We're not looking to preserve the trees. We've told multiple times we're not preserving these trees.
Why? Give an honest answer. Why?
The honest answer is the landowner has got tired of everybody saying they're my trees. You should be forced to do something.
So you're just going to cut down all the trees
enough.
in spite? In spite?
You don't own the trees.
Doesn't matter if you own the trees
you
or
don't
not.
own the trees.
Why cut them down?
We're moving on. We said for 18 months we are moving on.
You have no development.
By noon, Winthrop and his team had left the site. APTN will continue to follow the story. Sierra Bettens, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Thanks, Sierra. The Liberal caucus met yesterday for the first time since Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced that he is stepping down as the leader of the party. The big question on their minds, who will replace him? Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc says it won't be him.
I will be solely focused on the real economic threat that American tariffs represent to the Canadian economy and to Canadian workers.
MPs say those interested in running need to decide within a week or two because the next leader will need to produce a throne speech and come up with an election platform. MPs are still waiting to hear about the rules for the race, while others are keeping their plans close to the vest.
I have had a number of colleagues that have approached me to encourage me to consider it. I certainly have been considering it.
I am considering running and considering putting my name forward and evaluating what kind of support that may exist for my candidacy.
I've been reflecting, and in the context of my reflection, of course, I very much know that I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs at a time where it's extremely difficult with the American administration.
It could be days before the rules for the leadership contest are set. We're always looking for your feedback or story ideas. Here's how you can continue the conversation. Send us your ideas by email, news@aptn.ca. You can read and watch our stories on our website, aptnnews.ca. We are also on TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. Follow APTN News to join the conversation and see our latest stories. Coming up after the break, you will hear about a new series here on APTN. It's being narrated by a well-known Indigenous woman. Take a guess who that may be. Welcome back to APTN National News. A new 13-part series about our connection to water is about to premiere right here on APTN. Video journalist Tina House caught up with the movie star Tantu Cardinal, who narrates the series.
Water Worlds pushes our imagination to go under the water and look at the world from the ocean's point of view.
A new series written, directed, and produced by Len Morissette takes a closer look at the state of fresh water and ocean water and its vital importance to all living things.
Episode 1 sets up the two-eyed sea and our stewardship, and we start off at Haida Gwaii and work with their guardians and watchmen. And then pretty much episode 2 on walks through every part of the environment. So we tell the story of, like, Mother Earth and, how the rains come down and then push through the underground caverns that clean and filter the water.
Morissette says he had never seen anything that featured an underwater show that was told through an Indigenous lens. And to shoot the series, they started in Newfoundland and worked their way across the country.
At the end of the episode, you can see how everything is tied together and how we're tied, and the teachings with the killer whale, with the Wasanic people, and then how, one will affect the other.
He knew he wanted actress Tantu Cardinal to narrate the show, and she agreed to it.
Tantu is a strong warrior woman, and she breathed life into the words of, like, the scripting, and just, I can't say enough about her. She's so awesome. She just trusted the path.
We caught up with Tantu when she was recently at Vancouver Indigenous Fashion Week and talked to her about Water Worlds.
Water World is water scientists working with traditional people and how they work together to make our water world healthier. And then kind of educating in a very easy, kind of simple way about what's impacting the water in the rivers, especially close to the cities.
Cardinal also says working on the show gave her an opportunity to remember and relearn her traditional language.
I don't consider myself Creek conversant, but I said, have a translator do it, and I would really love to see if that I can do this, And what I discovered is because my my grandmother, spoke mostly Cree, and here all this Cree was in my head, and here was a place to bring it forward.
I hope people see that, maybe what we're facing, environmentally, it is a huge conversation, but you can do it in bite-sized pieces. Like, what can you control in your backyard? Because at the end of the series, you're going to understand how each system works, and it's all connected together. It doesn't matter where you come from, on this planet. We're all under the one sky.
Water Worlds makes its world premiere on APTN on January the 9th. Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
Tapwegi Tina. Now here's Fraser Needham to tell us what's ahead on this week's episode of Nation to Nation.
Coming up this evening after the news, it's been quite a week in Ottawa after Justin Trudeau's announcement. He'll be stepping down as Prime Minister once a new Liberal leader is in place. Indigenous Services Minister Patty Hajdu is here to talk about why the government is moving forward to negotiate a deal on long-term reform in child welfare with First Nations in Ontario. AFN Regional Chief for Ontario, Abram Benedict, is also here to tell us why the Chiefs of Ontario support this move. And we also talked to Toronto Metropolitan University professor Pam Palmater about what the Trudeau legacy may be when it comes to Indigenous people. All this ahead on Nation to Nation.
Now we want to tell you about this week's web poll question. Do you think 2025 will be better for you and your community than last year? Yes or no? And you can go to our website, aptnnews.ca, to cast your ballot. One more quick break here, but when we come back, we take you away from Turtle Island with some stories from Taiwan. St. John's 1, Charlottetown 1, cloudy. Kuujjuaq -1, Nain 1, partly cloudy. Saguenay -4, Gaspé 2 degrees. North Bay -16, Ottawa -10. Wawa -16, Sioux Lookout -8 and cloudy. Churchill -18 with snow, Pucketawagan -12. Barons River -2, Dauphin -1, partly sunny. Saskatoon -6, Yorkton -3. Uranium City -18 and sunny, Buffalo Narrows -10. Fort Chipewyan -18, High Level -8. Edmonton 2 degrees, Red Deer -4, partly cloudy. Quesnel 2 degrees, Campbell River 7 degrees. Fort Nelson -4, Smithers +4. Old Crow -21, Dawson -10. Norman Wells -12, Fort Simpson -13. Tuktoyaktuk -19, Pawcatuck -17. Cambridge Bay -33, Chesterfield -16. Arctic Bay -27, Iqaluit -12. Welcome back. To help the residents of Songlin Village understand the migration history of their ancestors, the Sadiq Knowledge Research Center at Providence University launched a local practice project to implement Indigenous knowledge systems. This from Taiwan Indigenous Television.
After the blessing ceremony to celebrate the completion of the migration history mural on Songlin Bridge, the village elder led students from Qing'ai Elementary School to share the migration history of Songlin Bulan Village. It is hoped that through this painted story, the villagers will understand more about their community's past and their ancestral homeland.
这个桥上面是有迁徙路线，然后很多跟我这个年纪的很多都不知道它是从哪里来，所以我们先把这个特别标出来，就是后来让他们去勾起说啊，对我阿公好像是哪一个部落来的。
日本人就特别从德鲁古部落把一批人迁到这里来，这个地方是布农族跟泰雅族中间的缓冲带，让赛德克族住在这里的话，比较两边可能会比较不容易，就是有一些纷争。
The reasons behind relocating some members of the Sajik people from Darugu village during the Japanese colonial period are widely debated. However, the most common explanations are, first, to weaken the Sajik's strength by dispersing them, and second, to place them between the Atayan people and the Bunun people, thereby easing the early conflicts between the two sides. Since this migration happened long ago, many members of the community today are unaware of this history. Through the migration story depicted in the mural, it is hoped that the people of Songlin Village will remember where they came from.
彩绘桥的这个计划呢，它是知识中心的另外一个子计划，就是部落实践的一个这个子计划，就是我们所调查好的这个知识，部落的知识呢，能够回馈到部落里面，让部落的人使用，甚至于传承。
The mural on Songlin Bridge not only marks the names of the ancestral villages and migration routes, but also highlights the community's current industries, such as aromatic glutinous rice and ulak shiitake mushrooms. In addition to helping the villagers understand their own history, the mural is also intended to introduce visitors to the cultural characteristics of Songlin Village.
Moving beyond loss, looking ahead. 15 years after experiencing a typhoon, the Shaolin Cultural Workshop teamed up with local school and community members to host their annual Cultural Revival exhibition, including the restoration of the old village site, traditional cuisine workshops, and lessons on Indigenous plants. The exhibition aimed at preserving the culture and history of the Taiwan peoples at Shaolin Village.
Walking through the exhibition, the Shaolin villagers share stories of traditional plants uses and reminisce about the flavors of their heritage dishes. The annual Cultural Revival exhibition, titled Children of the River and Land, bridged school curriculum with cultural memories. Then taught by community members, students explored the cultural memories, the migration history of the Taiwan peoples, culinary traditions, and indigenous plants knowledge. Reflecting on the result of their collaborative effort over the past year, the community members also serve as instructors and express immense pride and satisfaction.
现在老人都已经比较少了啦，也有小朋友也会来参与，所以这样是慢慢才会有那个人气才会上来。
我带着他们就是说要做那个植物垂染布的部分，植物里面其实包含了还有文化的感情，还有文化的一个传承概念。从小用这样的植物带进去，其实就可以开始讲文化啊，然后传统啊，甚至于他们个人每一个族群后面的一个意义。
Before Typhoon Morakot, Shaolin Village was a vital hub for passing down Taiwan culture. However, the disaster destroyed much of the village, weakening the younger generation's connection to their land and heritage. This exhibition seeks to bridge that gap, using collective memory as the foundation for cultural heritage, to ensure the continuity of Taiwan traditions.
在莫拉克之后，我们的孩子其实都迁到山下去，然后对文化他可能就是很粗浅的认识，没有很深层的去了解。那我们也希望透过田调的培力，然后可以让孩子去了解说，我们跟土地之间有这么多的一个族群脉络，可以去互相牵引。
The exhibition was held at the Shaolin Plains Indigenous People Cultural Museum. Following the section dedicated to Typhoon Morakot, the exhibition is thoughtfully arranged to guide visitors along the path that reveals the community's journey from devastation to rebirth. The community's heart for preserving their culture remains strong, highlighting their cultural revival and the healing power of the land's rebirth.
And that's your daytime newscast for this Thursday, January 9, 2025. We're back again for your evening newscast with more stories. Make sure to join us then. From all of us at APTN National News to all of you, Egase, Gitam, Kawapa Mitana now. Thank you for watching and we'll see you again.